I think the sex life is great. Wesley is she's very intimate. She's very.
Please help me.
Your head is built like an ironing board. I bet every time this man tries to go down, her cooch sounds like it's being cow pressed. He looks like something Dr. Seuss would illustrate if he was going through a bad acid trip. It's almost like I'm watching Dr. Evil from Austin Powers if he went through a Polish shower. I mean, this just looks like the definition of adultery. It's almost like I'm watching the high school custodian have a relationship with one of the students. He looks like she's internally screaming by just having to sit next to you, so I think you're the only one sharing that thought. I mean, just look at her face. That's something you would see out of the Castro courthouse. She looks like about everything but comfortable, so I highly doubt you're this vanilla gorilla in the bedroom. I mean, let's blow out a queef and keep it a Chuck Beef here. You look like you would have a stroke when you're one stroke in. So I highly doubt you're drilling in dick like a jackhammer. It's not like you have the looks to kill. I mean, quite frankly, you resemble Bill from King of the Hill if he was all crocodile. So let's not oversell a tiny product. I swear, it's such a repeating pattern with this series where the couples feel like it's necessary to introduce how they seduce each other immediately before anything else. Like, even videos on the P-Hub at least have the courtesy of having an intro or some sort of happy hello, but not this man. He just went straight in how he makes it jiggle like jello. It's so creepy, especially when he looks old enough to be her church pastor or a 6th century old Smithsonian vampire. I mean, he's just starting to decay by the day. He even got volcanic ash from the Pompeii laying on the top of his forehead. I mean, this whole relationship looks like this guy is living out that one perverted uncle that you have in the family's fantasy.
I ain't desperate, got a death wish, shawty wake up every morning, got a Zanny and her lettuce.
Alright, welcome back, ladies and ladies with dicks. Love is such a strange but beautiful thing that many of us have probably encountered before. You know, we would be lying if we wasn't crushing heavy at one point, and some people are lucky enough to actually get with the love of their life, but others aren't, and things end up not working out. People might go to the gym, you know, get built and focus on their better selves, or become desperate and try to bounce back with a rebound. And when it comes to finding a rebound, this motherfucker is Wilt Chamberlain. Because he had to get revenge, but not only revenge, he had to get it back in blood. Literally, by going after his ex-wife's daughter. Now, I want to make it clear, I don't think having a little bit of an age difference is a bad thing in a relationship. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of experience and wisdom. It's just if your preferred age range falls under somebody that looks like they need a fucking oil change, that's where I start to have a little bit of a problem. Because these people had a family of 4 and a mortgage paid off just by the time their little precious sweet cheek popped out of their mother's cervix creek. It's practically the same dynamic as a sugar daddy most of the time with these relationships. There's always a young attractive girl that wants money, meets rich perverted old man, bitch gets paid, pops gets laid, and it's never ending cycle. So it goes to show for all my single men out there, you know, for all the handy randies that are watching this not knowing where to look for love, don't be so torn, because the one for you may not even be born. Or go to your local hospital and pre-order your wife. I'm sure that's what this guy did, walking around the incubation unit like he was at a yard sale. Excuse me, sir, are you looking at your daughter? No, I'm looking at my future lover. But majority of the time, the relationships are completely disingenuous and aren't usually what the normal person would rationalize as love. If you guys remember a while back, one of my first videos on this age gap reality show was the old guy that openly admitted to cheating on his boyfriend in front of his face.
I got a message from this account called I'm So Into Mark. For the past few months,
God, that guy was chewing that shit like a horse that just got tranquilized. Yeah, it was like I was watching a baby eat his first Gerber. But he obviously has no care in the world, and that's how a lot of these guys are, and it's just pathetic, if anything. But maybe this couple could be the outlier we've been looking for all these years that can finally pave us the path of finding true love. So without any more blabbering, let's watch this predatory Buzz Lightyear that's off a perk and a Bush beer share his demented little toy story.
Good night, Wes.
Good night, Vince. I will honestly say that sex with an older man is better. And that is something you don't get from somebody your age.
Why does every person that's in an age gap relationship are just like, I cannot just stop fucking this 90-year-old man? Well, I stand corrected. I guess sex just runs in the family. And speaking of family, I hardly even notice a lifeless corpse of the baby that she's just dangling around in the bed sheet. She probably broke his neck. But honestly, I couldn't even think of a better thing to do as you're settling down into retirement than to have a kid. That's luckily human. I was half expecting her to be holding up Sloth from the fucking Goonies. I mean, just look at this guy. There is no way you can tell me he is not possessed by a demon. It's like that therapist scene out of the Smile movie. I can almost feel a shift in the atmosphere. This is what those people must have seen in the Bird Box, because I'm starting to feel the wind fly around me. At least your wipers won't have to change your diapers alone anymore. Now you can share that bond with your son. And the worst part is when this kid grows up and, you know, natural causes occurs, the most popular thing he can look back and remember his father by is him non-stop talking about him unraveling his mother's beef curtains like some menstrual magician. Like, it's not even 5 seconds into the video and little Tim will already have to hear about his father's Slim Jim.
They don't really care, or they just assume they're doing it right. And women are very complex creatures.
Well, you are certainly not wrong. I can't think of anybody out there on the green of this earth that would want the feeling of making out with the exhaust pipe of a clapped out Chevy Cruze. Look at how he's attacking every crack and crevice, making sure she can taste all the dust. He's spinning his tongue around her throat like he's trying to transfer a symbiote. I mean, you can see his tongue touch base with her fucking larynx. You know, this guy's going to town, in the middle of town, in the open public. You know, if I was taking a little Sunday stroll around town and saw this shit under a street light, I would have thought one of the Whitakers got loose and was running rampage. Either way, this guy looks like if Mr. Burns was a Burns survivor. Yeah, this is not extreme love anymore. This is borderline cannibalism.
I'm 54, going to be 55 in February.
I'm 24. I just turned 24 in September.
And we do have a 30-year age gap.
But you've been meaning to tell me this bitch's name is Wesley. Just when I thought I seen it all, really. It looks like her mom was mad as hell she was having a daughter. Also, something about the way he emphasized on that 30 years like we couldn't already tell was hella unsettling. This guy just has a very uncomfortable aura around him, and I'm not exactly trying to read the full room because he's already fucking doing it for me. Just look at his eyes. It's like he's always in the state of checking for witnesses.
We've been together almost 3 years now.
We met on Match.com. We got together a couple months later and we really hit it off.
Vince, my man, what in the flying fuck are you doing? She's not gonna try to run in public. You got nothing to worry about. He's gripping her like a war hawk. Just look at his talons. I don't know how to explain it, but his body language is like the closest thing to a real-life Meat Canyon video. I'm expecting him to start sniffing her hair and take a bite with him damn near foaming out the mouth like that.
I was attracted to her blonde hair. She had a beautiful smile. She used the word Disney in her profile, and I thought, well, she has to be a Disney fan, or basically everything is off because I'm kind of a Disney aficionado.
So we're entering Fantasyland.
It's getting really hard to defend you, Vince. Don't get me wrong. I can get down for some Finding Nemo. Don't get this shit twisted. I love Disney, but I'm also not pushing 60 and have my hairline splitting apart like Pangea. My man is out here rocking a homegrown Kevin Malone, so it's a bit of a different story. You know, that's kind of weird, man. Horny, unmarried elder with no children goes to Disneyland for fun. Probably already caught 4 assault charges for fighting toddlers in the line for Magic Mountain, but so far having an obsession over Disney at his age is a huge red flag. Actually, that's not even a red flag. That's where you just surrender and run for the hills and never look back at that point.
There were some things in my marriage that were lacking. I actually felt that a younger girl would be able to provide those for me. I didn't realize that I was going to fall so hard for Wes.
So basically you started finding your wife unattractive because she's getting old, so you dropped her rusted ass off in the junkyard and went for a young hot chick despite you being this balding no-nipple Neanderthal that's one McDouble from going into heart trouble. I mean, I heard this same story about 100 times on 4chan. He's not looking for love. He's going after a young woman because of their sex appeal. He just wants to hold her up like she's a championship trophy, and it's just so disgusting.
Wesley has never done anything by the book.
I remember this one.
She likes older men. I was like, okay.
Well, I'm sure Vince can't wait to ask her for her blessing. She just has the voice of an angel. She sounds like she's absolutely heartbroken, though, by even speaking about her daughter. That, or she just swallowed 2 gallons of battery acid and limestones. Thought she was about to start singing how wonderful the world was with that wild, wicked witch of the incest-ass voice. As I was saying beforehand, just everything from the slight pauses and sighs she gives out before talking about her daughter's relationship just shows that she, without a shadow of a doubt, wants absolutely nothing to do with them. I bet every Thanksgiving they have, it feels like you're sitting in a police interrogation room with all the awkward tension. Everyone, I have to commend a toast to my girlfriend. She's 30 years younger than me. I met her through my good friend Jeffrey. Rest his soul.
Vince does have another child. He's 26, so he is 2 years older than me.
Yeah, we get it, Vince. You're not the stepdad. You're the dad that stepped up by completely deserting your family and instead choosing to live with a girl that can barely even legally buy alcohol from the fucking corner store, despite the fact you lived through the goddamn prohibition. So I don't think the divorce even fazed your son. Quite honestly, I think what really did him in was the fact you came back home with one of his classmates that was over last week for a school project, just for her to show up the following week busting that shit out wide with pride on the family couch in front of your father. I mean, he practically hit his son with a chain combo at just devastation. He deserts you and your mother for being just too ugly, thinking he's a spotless dimer, even though his ass is out here posted up like Slimer, thinking he has any room to talk. I mean, this guy's face looks like a cartoon character whenever they get punched and it's all pushed back. I mean, his shit's on different aspect ratios. It's like someone went into Meme Maker and cranked them eyes down to 30.
My son, I think, is uncomfortable, but I don't know if it's so much about the age gap is that it's the fact that, you know, I divorced his mom.
Leaving your wife because you find her ugly is wild enough to me already, but then to immediately go after a young girl because of her sexual attraction, it just screams insecurity. It's no wonder the son is hurt and embarrassed by him. Who wouldn't be if he was sadly in your family?
Love you, Wes.
Love you, Vince.
Bro just factory resetted. What the fuck was that? He gave her a kiss and hit a Narblar pose out of nowhere. Maybe that kiss made him ejaculate. Honestly, I don't know, and I think it's best not even to question it further.
We had unprotected sex for about 2 years, and then magically I was pregnant.
Wow, who could have seen that one coming? It's almost like that's kind of how sex works a little bit. Especially if he's just handling your ham raw without the gloves on. It's not like men become infertile when they get older too. You could be older than the Tikal temple and still be able to fuck like a bull if your health won't make you drop on your knees before she does. I don't know why she acted so surprised, like she has revolutionized and changed the way of how we perceive the penis. Like, yeah, no shit you got pregnant. This guy doesn't even know what pulling out means. If you asked him to use protection, he would probably start wrapping his meat up in linen.
So it was more of a miracle thing.
Yeah, we did have unprotected sex for quite a while.
Jingle balls.
Sweater on. Piper loves my balls. She wants to jump on them.
I've never seen a midlife crisis described more perfectly without even having to say a word.
She treats me like a man. She makes sure that all of my needs are met. She also makes me feel loved, which is very important.
Finally, this is the first time I've actually seen him describe her for something other than a breathable fleshlight, and it's still just about himself. Notice how he's going into his needs, what makes him feel good. Nothing to say for her end unless it also benefits him. This relationship is so fake and tasteless. It's like listening to a fucking Snoop Dogg story. He's really just a power-hungry, selfish piece of shit when they actually go in depth with each other in their relationship.
It isn't really a connection.
He's punching her uvula back like a speed bag. She's probably about to heave out sawdust after they're done kissing like she just did the cinnamon challenge.
Sex is better with an older man.
Okay, I'm actually about to get mad at this point. Why are they so adamant about showing this one makeout?
All areas, I have somebody that is constantly guiding me in the right direction. If I need advice, I don't really need to go to my mom. I can go to Vince.
You know what that almost sounds like? A father making sure they go through pain and walk on glass and puts you as his first priority before anything else. Those all sound like a traits of a dad, except the intercourse part. That wasn't really something that really went down. I kind of stopped bikes when it came to learning how to ride things with my dad. But yeah, the stars are starting to align here a little bit. Because we haven't seen her father be in the picture at all so far either. So I think it's time we hear from him and where he is at. What does he have to say about this?
It's not set in stone. You will have a certain amount of time, which I learned from losing my father at a young age.
Oh, yeah, well, that explains a lot. Actually, not even a lot. That just leaked the whole plot line. That shut the door to pretty much any question of asking why she decided to get with this man in general. The number one pattern in most of these relationships is daddy issues. She never had a father figure in her life to take care of her, and since she could never experience that, Vince is the closest thing she ever had to her father. She basically sees him as a daddy in two different ways, which is very weird, but also kind of sad and gives me a better understanding of where she's coming from. But Vince is just having a field day. He's just beating that shit up like there's no tomorrow, having the time of his life. He spent a total of 5 seconds actually talking about her like she's an actual human being and not a stroking station. If you think that's the face of pure infatuation, you are wrong. He's flicking clits while not giving two shit.
My next door neighbor took me to a White Sox game when I was 12. I'd never been there before. Of course, it was south side of Chicago, and
Jackie Robinson was playing.
Troy passed away May 18th of 2006. I woke up and as you can imagine, that was extremely traumatic.
Well, yeah, that's not exactly something you sleep off the next night after. Like I said before, it's a shame that this is her first experience of what having a fatherly role model was like. Actually, wait, no it isn't. This isn't her first rodeo with a coffin dodger. Her ex was somehow older than Vince. So she's been looking for this guidance and care ever since she's been growing up, and now the only person she ever got to look up to as a father ended up making babies with her. So I'm glad she finally found out what it means for a family to be complete.
It's gonna hold.
My vision of a soulmate is...
For fuck's sake, that holy head of the forest scraping against the top of the door. He almost had to hit a limbo just to fit through the frame. It kind of looks like that picture of Patrick Star when he was off the Zanny bar. I mean, he's not some angel that was sent from the heavens. He hopped out the spaceship looking like E.T. with EDs. So no need to keep giving the man flowers. We understand he's very loving and touches you ways nobody else has before. But I think that's gonna wrap the video up here. It was kind of a short one, but sometimes it's nice to not create an hour-long Netflix original on my channel and go back into my roots, you know, my humble beginning. Because because I used to do these type of videos all the time. I would actually like post these weekly. I guess the lesson to take from all this is when daddy didn't love you, the next best thing is to get with grandpa, because she's just ecstatic to have every waking moment of the day to be with him. And if that's not true love, then I don't know what the hell else it could be. If I got any foxy hotshots out there watching this that's been thinking about settling down with the high schooler, please just stop yourself before you even start. It is fucking creepy, and I don't care about the whole retrospect of age doesn't define love, love defines age. Listen, it is very unsettling. Like, I'm just saying what we're all thinking here. Legally, it might slide, but anybody with a solid moral compass can easily spot out the problems with dating the elder tribunal of the underworld or whatever demonic realm this man came from. No, I don't believe being the good old ripe age of 30 when your wife is born is something to be proud of. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to slap a like before your dad slaps you, subscribe to hit my vibe, and as always, follow all my socials, links down below, especially my Instagram. I'm getting really close to 5,000 followers, and fuck it, you could even shoot your shot with me if you're feeling brave in the DMs. You might get a text back. I love talking to y'all and hearing the support you guys have to give. It's just something that'll never get old to me no matter how much time passes. This video was kind of short because it was sort of a filler. Let me tell you, my next video is when shit will get spicy. So that being said, I love you all, and I will see you guys next week. I'm gonna head out this bitch.
I can't trust a soul, bro. I don't miss the old me. No, I shop at Soho. Niggas think they know me. I promise they don't though. Thinking about you. I'm still thinking about you. Yeah. Baby, tell me what you heard. Fast life got me rolling, but them cameras hurt my nerves.